at school, I went to a school called Bow Boys. Probably one of the worst schools in the borough. At the time, it was like it was 5 A to C's. That was the big thing. So if you got 5 A to C's in your GCSEs, my school, the number of people that got 5 A to C's was less than 5%. So, to put it into context for people at home, you're more likely coming from my school to end up in prison than you are to end up in uni. That was the environment that we're in.
So what would you advise? Starting your own business or going to uni?
If it was me personally, I would definitely, the business thing is anyway, I think that's just universal. Even like now, I teach my kids about business. But even before learning about money, if you understand the concept of business will teach you how to manage your money.
Yep.
Business will teach you about finance, it will teach you about mindset, it will teach you about how to deal with people.
It will humble you.
It will humble you.
Yep.
So for me, business is a lifestyle.
Yep.
I tell my kids, you're all gonna have your own businesses. It doesn't that's standard. We're gonna have a business together. We're gonna work together. Wherever it is, you're gonna do that because you need to understand the value of money. And a business, when you put the hours and efforts in, and then someone finally pays you for that service, or it's a different. You look at money completely different. Then you understand that you can generate it. So this is why I always tell people, like, if you've got that work job mentality, you get paid 12 times in a year and you clap for yourself. But actually, the reality is if you 365 days and you only get paid on 12 of them, if you'd done a test and got 12 out of 365, you'd be disappointed.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So actually, when you realize that I can create value, if I can create value every day, I can get paid every single day.
But I was going to sound really horrible, but people need to just think back to what you just said. You get paid 12 days out of 365. And people are happy with that.
Over the moon.
But they don't realise, or what those people do, and I will say those people, with the most respect, is they're the ones that moan.
Yep.
And they're the ones that hit the snooze button.
Yeah.
But then they're probably the ones that in your DM, how do I get out of this?
All the time. E-man, can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? Okay, so what do you do? So I always ask this question, you work 9 to 5, so what do you do between 5 to 9? Watching EastEnders. So some of these people, 3 hours on TikTok. 3 hours just scrolling. Gone. They scroll so much they fall asleep. I'm like, what? Can you imagine? You spent, think about it, there's 24 hours in a day. You spent eight of those hours at work. Remember, then there's an hour to work, hour back. So 10 of your out of your 24 you've spent for somebody else. Then you got to sleep. Maybe you sleep 7-8 hours. My goodness. You can't give yourself 2 or 3 hours to think about ways that you can improve yourself, add value to yourself, create something for yourself. Right now, we've got a cost of living crisis. Why is it such a problem? Because the majority of people only have one income stream. If you only have one income stream, and even if a lot of workplaces are given 5-10% increase, but if everything's gone up 5-10%, all they've done is help you stay the same. But
again, this is a common question I would ask. So would you therefore say your diary is a true reflection of your happiness?
Definitely. I love it. When we had that conversation, I had a conversation with him, and it was life-changing. It was just life-changing. Because you realise that a lot of your anger, a lot of the things that you're taking out maybe on other people, maybe you're being short with your missus or you're being short with the people around you, actually is pain that you're carrying for years. And I've just sat in therapy, lay it out, had a conversation, and that's just gone.
Tell me back to that moment with your dad.
Yeah.
When that changed your life. That moment now.
So it was about 4 or 5 years ago, and my wife was just like, have a conversation with him. He probably doesn't even know. Like, just have a conversation. And so I just called him and I was like, Dad, you got time? He's like, yeah, let's talk. And we literally just on the phone for like me and my dad. Me and my dad's conversations normally last about 3 minutes, and that's long. It's about 3 minutes. Hey son, how are you? I'm good, Dad. How are you? How's work? How the kids? How's everyone? No, good. Okay, take care. Bye. That's our normal, and that's not because of the bad. That's just our relationship. That's just how we are. Do you know what I mean? It's not that we don't like each other. Just love. That's just how he is. He's just not that talk. He's not a talkative person like that. We talked for 2 hours, and it was just like, talking about how I just felt like he was never proud of me, and felt like he didn't he like he was always, my sisters were really clever, so they did really good at school. So I always felt like he was very proud of them and not proud of me, and felt like I wasn't clever, and he was always hard on me. And so I remember just having this conversation with him, and he's just talking about his upbringing and his childhood and what he went through, and you know, the fact that he couldn't go to school. Like, all he wanted to do was go to school, but he couldn't go to school because he wasn't allowed to go to school. And I remember, so education became so important to him. So he taught himself. He found books and taught himself, and then got a good job off the back of it. Then became an accountant in Nigeria, then qualified to be an accountant over here. So for him, education changed his life, and education was the thing that stopped him. So for him, his bar was education. So when he had kids, all he thought about was education, because that's the source. You know, some people I can only teach you what I know. If all I know is 2 and 2 equals 4, that's all I can teach you. I can't teach you 4 times 4 is. I can't teach you that. I haven't learned that.
Yeah.
I've just learned 2 and 2 equals 4. So all he could teach me was what he knew, and all he knew was education. So to him, he was giving me all the love and all the best things he felt he could give me, because that's all he knew. And so when I went that day that I realized I have to stop looking at people from the lens of Emmanuel Asuquo, and I have to try and look at people from the lens of the people who they are. And that's what we do as humans. We assume that because I look on social media, someone's bought a house. Because I'm working hard, I assume they've worked as hard as me to buy that house. So now I look at myself and say, oh, I'm not working hard enough. You don't know if they've inherited it. You don't know what they've done to get that. But this is what we do. We look at the lens from our perspective. But when I put myself into his shoes and what he's been through and saw it from, it's a completely different story.